Welcome to the Respectful Divorce Podcast. If you're considering a divorce, it's important to know that you have options for how you divorce. On the Respectful Divorce Podcast, we explore those options and provide advice from divorce professionals. I'm your host today, Tim Crouch, and we're talking with Ivan Alter, a New York collaborative divorce attorney, about his practice and about collaborative divorce. Ivan, thanks for joining us today on the Respectful Divorce Podcast.
Thank you, Tim.
So let's just begin maybe with a very high level basic question. Why divorce? Why did you focus your practice in the divorce area?
My parents were litigation attorneys who did a lot of divorce work. And so after a brief career in more corporate law, I joined them and found myself doing divorce work, which was not at all what I had intended to do, and ultimately not particularly satisfying because, as you can imagine, a lot of people ask me, how can you even work in this world? Divorce. So, it was really tense, and a lot of people went through very difficult times, and despite my best efforts, I found that a lot of people found the process pretty unsatisfying, understandably so.
So then that dissatisfaction that you talked about, that led you to some other ways, I guess, of how to handle the divorce, including a collaborative divorce, right?
That's right. Yeah, I decided that the people who were coming to see me for divorces, they were obviously not in a good place, but more often than not, at the end of a litigated divorce, they found themselves in a worse place. Financially, emotionally, their relationship, which was already troubled, was often, irreparable. And I felt like I wasn't helping. And so I stopped. And I didn't get back into it until I learned about mediation and collaborative law as an alternative process to help people get divorced without all of the negative things that I found associated with litigated divorce.
Now, what in particular appealed to you about the collaborative process?
There were a few things. First of all, the perspective of the process is that it does not treat people who are getting divorced as adversaries. It understands that they are looking to make a change in their lives, and it wants to help them do that. It doesn't see it as a zero-sum game. It doesn't see it as what's good for spouse A is bad for spouse B and vice versa. In fact, the opposite is true, because if spouse A gets everything they want and spouse B is left with nothing, spouse A really didn't get everything they want, because now they've got the rest of their lives to contend with the way things worked out, and a dissatisfied, angry, and, spouse B who might very well be their child's parent. Another thing I really liked about collaborative is when you're a divorce lawyer, you're often called upon to be many things to your client. You're not just their lawyer, but you're also their psychologist. You're their accountant. You're their confidant, because you're the only person that they can look to in this process. And while I did my best, I'm not trained in any of those other fields. That's not what I do. In collaborative, we bring on people who are. We bring on family specialists who are trained mental health professionals. We bring on financial neutrals who are trained financial professionals to provide those services at a much higher level than I ever could, or any lawyer ever could. And it recognizes that, it allows people to do what they do well.
And so what do those neutrals do in the process, in the collaborative process itself?
They do two things. One is they bring their subject matter expertise in a way that very few lawyers can match, right? Like I said, they're trained in this. So they're already elevating the quality of the team. The other thing that they do is they bring neutrality, right? So we have one financial neutral who's working on the process, understanding that the numbers are the same for spouse A as they are for spouse B. So spouse A doesn't need to try to work the numbers one way and spouse B to try to work them another way. Really, what the spouses want is to understand as clearly as they can what the numbers are so that they can work to figure out the best solution for everybody. And having someone who is neutral in the room, who really doesn't have any agenda or any allegiance to one over the other, reinforces the idea that we're working together towards a common goal.
And I think that working together piece, it is the clients that make the ultimate decisions of how things will turn out in their divorce case, right?
That's right. It's the clients make all the decisions, which I think is one of the great strengths of the process. Is you're not turning over the rest of your life and these important decisions to someone who doesn't know you and who has 75 other cases on their calendar, hoping that they're going to get it right. You're maintaining that control, and you're saying there's nobody better suited to determine what's going to be the answer than me. And they retain that control, which makes it, I think, in many ways, a much lower risk proposition than litigation, because they know that unless they agree, it's not going to resolve. Nothing's going to happen to them that they haven't said okay to.
So as we talk about those parts of it, what then do you as the attorney do in a collaborative case?
It's a really interesting and delicate role that an attorney plays in a collaborative case, because you are first and foremost an attorney who is responsible to their client, and you are responsible for helping them to understand what their best interests are and then helping them to go get what, would best serve their interests. But unlike a litigation attorney, where you presume that a client's best interests are to get the biggest piece of the pie no matter what, and to always assume that what's bad for the other side is good for you, you're also looking at the bigger picture, at the bigger whole. You're understanding that these people, their interests may go beyond, and often always do go beyond, just the dollars. They're also interested in how are things going to work out for their children? How are they and their ex going to be able to co-parent? How are they going to look back on their marriage? This period of their life, was it a waste of time and all they can do is get angry when they think of it? Or is it something that they can take the good parts from and recognize that they're done with it now and they've moved on to something else? I don't think people realize that divorce is, when the divorce comes through, it's not over. They still have the rest of their lives, and how they process what went on in their marriage and what went on in their divorce is going to impact the rest of their lives. As a collaborative divorce lawyer, we help them maintain that broader perspective.
So you talk about co-parenting in particular, because after the divorce, you still have to be parents to those children. How does the collaborative process make the co-parenting relationship stronger? In
several ways. First of all, the very perspective of trying to make these decisions together is the first step towards being co-parents, right? These people are going to be working with the benefit of a team to try to make good choices for their kids going forward. The experience and the successes that they have in the collaborative process lay the groundwork for what comes next, which is a lifetime of continuing to make decisions that are in the best interests of their children. It also provides them with support, professional support at this stage in the game, right, through the collaborative process, but also a resource to go back to if they need it in the future. Almost every collaborative agreement I write says if the parties are unable to agree about something with regard to the children, they will return to the collaborative process or return to the parenting coordinator or someone to help them make those decisions in a good and healthy way. Otherwise, their only recourse is to go to court, fight with each other, and let the judge decide, which is not a particularly sustainable or healthy way to co-parent.
So through the years, as you've done this, how have you seen collaborative, those who have gone through the collaborative process, make a difference in those clients' lives?
It's been remarkable and very, very satisfying. The opposite experience that I had as a litigator, where I felt like I was leaving people somehow worse than I found them. In these situations, I can't tell you how many times I've been at a collaborative table where I've heard one spouse say to the other spouse, if we could only have talked like this during our marriage, who knows, maybe, things could have gone differently. Because what you're doing is you're not helping them to fight with each other. You're helping them to understand one another. And that can be really, really powerful.
Yeah. So this is the Respectful Divorce podcast. In your mind, what does respect mean in a divorce?
Respect in a divorce means that you are going to treat this person in who you at one point loved and expected to spend your life with as a worthwhile human being who deserves to be okay. You may be angry with them, you may be disappointed in them, you may not want to share your life going forward with them, but you're not there to destroy them. And I think that in litigation, there's sometimes spoken, sometimes unspoken, this idea that that's really what it's about. You're going to get revenge. You're going to get payback for whatever disappointments there were. And first of all, it's a lie. It's not available. Nobody walks away from a divorce feeling like, yes, I won. I got revenge. They got what was coming to them. That is only on TV. In a respectful process, such as collaborative divorce, we acknowledge that that's not even our goal. We're instead going to look at our situation and say, we want to change it. The best possible outcome leaves both of us okay, because how could it be a good outcome if somebody is living, in a box? That's not a good outcome. So you want an outcome that both people can walk away feeling like they're whole and like they have a future and that they can move forward in their life in a way that's productive.
Is there also sort of a self-respect kind of piece that comes from the process?
Absolutely. I mentioned before, that divorce is not an end, that you have the rest of your life to sort of live with it. People look at the way they behaved in a divorce, and it informs the way they feel about themselves, right? So if somebody behaves in a way that is true to their ideals and their sense of who they are, they're going to come away from the process with a sense of pride and peace about what happened. If people behave out of fear and operate on the ends justify the means sort of a mindset, then they are going to lose sight of themselves in the process. And when they look back, they will probably feel like, who was I and what did I do? I think we all can look back on things in our lives where we could have behaved in a more graceful, respectful, thoughtful manner. And when we don't, it haunts us. And when you're talking about somebody with whom you have so many links and contacts and important memories, it's all the more important to feel that you did your best.
So we're doing this podcast ahead of the Divorce with Respect Week, which is coming up in March. That's an opportunity for people to get to talk to you and other divorce professionals about about their divorce. What should someone go into Divorce with Respect Week in a potential consultation hoping to learn?
Hoping to learn the choices that they have in terms of the process that they choose. For many years, certainly when I was practicing litigation, it was pretty much the only option was litigation. And there are people who, just because they've never been divorced and don't operate in this world, maybe don't know that they have choices, that think that when you're going to get a divorce, the first thing you're supposed to do is call the biggest, baddest attorney you've ever heard of because they're going to help you. The problem is once you make that call, you've set yourself down a road towards having the kind of a divorce that may not be the kind of divorce that you're looking for. So the discussion that I'm hoping to have with people in Divorce with Respect Week is to help them understand the different options available and what they look like and what they mean. It's not to say that collaborative divorce is the right answer for everybody. It's not. And there are people for whom litigated divorce is absolutely the best way to go. But they should make that choice. They shouldn't just fall into that because it was the default thing or they didn't know that they had a choice.
Great. We've been talking with Ivan Alter. Ivan, if somebody wants to get in touch with you or learn more about you, how can they do that?
Well, they should visit my website, which is ivanalter.com, and they can get in touch with me through that, or they can send me an email at ivan@ivanalter.com, or give me a call at 914-861-2400, and I'd be happy to talk more about this. I am excited about the possibilities that collaborative divorce and mediation present for people, and I want more people to know about it.
Again, thank you for joining us today, Ivan, on the Respectful Divorce podcast. This important programming note, Divorce with Respect Week is March 3rd through 9th. During Divorce with Respect Week, you can talk with lawyers, divorce coaches, divorce financial professionals for free. To learn more about the divorce process and your options, simply go to divorcewithrespectweek.com to find a professional near you. And once again, Divorce with Respect Week is March 3rd through 9th, and the website, divorcewithrespectweek.com. We'll put Ivan's website and the Divorce with Respect Week website links in the show notes. This is Tim Crouch reminding you that collaborative divorce is a better way to untie the knot.